It is estimated that over 10 million females and over 1 million males in this country are battling with eating disorders such as anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa. At least 15 million more are struggling with binge eating disorder, and millions more practice disordered eating due to an obsession with dieting. I'm going to touch on a little bit about as many little topics as possible. As some of you already know, I could talk on and on and on and on because a lot of you in here already know me. But I'm going to try to be really concise about a lot of little topics. All of the pamphlets, all the folders in the Oak Room tonight have all sorts of information that I've copied for you. It's all from the NIDA website. So you can find a lot more information on all the little topics I'm going to talk about in those folders that I've provided for you tonight. Of the 11+ million people who suffer with full-blown anorexia or bulimia, at least 5 to 6 million of those people will be able to achieve full recovery with proper treatment. Another 2 million will achieve partial recovery. You may ask, what is partial recovery? Partial recovery refers to remaining too focused on food and weight, participating superficially in friendships and romantic relationships, holding jobs but really without meaningful careers, spending much or most of paychecks on diet aids, diet books, exercise classes, and or binge foods. That's partial recovery. About 20% of people with anorexia or bulimia will not recover. They will not improve. This means they're going to be seen repeatedly in mental health clinics. They're going to be seen in emergency rooms and eating disorder treatment centers. Their quietly desperate lives will revolve around food and weight concerns. They will continue spiraling into depression, loneliness, hopelessness, and helplessness. Without treatment, at least 20% of these individuals will die. Approximately 1 out of every 100 females aged 10 to 20 has anorexia. About 4 out of every 100 college-age women has bulimia. About 50%, half of all people that have anorexia, will end up developing bulimia nervosa or bulimic tendencies. Approximately 10% of people with anorexia or bulimia are male. Only 1/3 of the people with anorexia receive mental health care. Only 6% of people with bulimia receive mental health care. Anorexia is the most fatal of all mental illnesses. It has the highest premature mortality rate of any psychiatric disorder. The mortality rate associated with anorexia alone is 12 times higher than the death rate of all causes of death for females ages 12 to 24. Although recovery from anorexia can take nearly a decade, the outcome of treatment is better than for breast cancer or obesity. That's the good news. For those of you that do not believe that anorexia is an illness, you have to understand it is not a choice. Anorexia is not a choice. Anorexia is a mental illness. It's a serious mental illness. It's similar to an infection. Eating disorders are similar to infections. They are mental illnesses and they are not a choice. They develop over time and they require appropriate treatment in order to go into remission. Statistics prove that in order for treatment to succeed, the the treatment must be multifaceted. Eating disorders are biopsychosocial problems. It requires mental health care, nutritional care, and medical care. For those of you who know somebody or who has ever had an eating disorder that has gone to a psychologist, and that psychologist has told you that you don't need a dietitian because he or she has put you on a diet of their own, run the other way. Run as fast as you can. As in any profession, there are bad people in any profession. Right? 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 Okay. You do not want to fall under the guise of by being persuaded by any clinician who is simply providing yet another diet that is going to suit your own disordered eating way of life. That is not the proper care. You need a dietitian / nutritionist who is an expert in eating disorders. Just as you need a psychologist who is a specialist in eating disorder treatment. General clinicians and general dietitians are not going to be effective. This is a subspecialty in psychology. If you had a DUI, you're not going to go to a real estate attorney to get help. If you need a nose job, you're not going to go to a liposuction doctor. You need a specialist. So important. If there's one thing you're going to learn tonight, you need to understand that. Next year when I do this function, I'm going to have a dietitian talking and I'm going to have some MDs up here. I'm solo tonight, besides the 6 other speakers I have, which are people in partial and full recovery and a family. Anyway, eating disorders take up every single aspect of somebody's being. They take up one's physical, psychological, social, and interpersonal soul, and cognitive, of course. Eating disorders consume one's mind. They lose focus on anything and everything that ever mattered to them. They lose their priorities. Work, school, sports, friends, anything, you name it. Nothing else matters. They are completely consumed by ED. By the way, for those of you that don't know, we refer to eating disorders with the acronym ED. We can consider ED as a bad boyfriend, bad husband. No offense to the guys out there, it's just the name Ed is kind of masculine. If you want to refer to it as a girl, we've changed the name to Edwina, or any other thing you want, but the acronym is ED. There's not too many young kids out there, are there? Because there is something I want to say. On a radio show once, the person interviewing me referred to it as ED. And on live national air, I said it. Well, you know what I probably said, because I don't hold back. It's not that disease. It's an eating disorder. So we say ED and not ED.